I know SEC Media Day is coming up. Once again, there's a lot of people that like the gap between Georgia and Florida is so deep. Do you realize Florida's got 19 starters coming back? 16 of those have an NFL draft grade.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I really appreciate the comment where Phil Steele talked about them. You know, it's funny that he'd predict them to go 10 wins, but everybody's so sure Georgia will go 12-0. But I'm here to tell you, I would tell you right now, Auburn and Florida both are better than Georgia.
Again, Lance, everyone looks at things differently. I mean, you are, without a doubt, a stat guy. You crunch the numbers, and there's no reason why you can't. And then other people just simply base it on intuition. I frankly think the biggest question leading into the season has to do with Georgia. I'm with you on that. Are they the same? Every preseason poll I look at, they're in the top 4. Do they deserve to be there?
Well, I think if you look at it like this from a unit standpoint, losing their front 7, you realize Jabari Zuniga has more tackles for loss than Georgia's starting defensive line unit coming back for 18. Do you realize David Reese, 102 tackles, is more than Georgia's starting linebacker core for 18? So they've lost the production. That is an alarming stat. And when you think about the year before, everybody wants to point to the Florida game last year. That was a mess. I've heard you admit it. Think about the year before. We won 24-10. Do you realize in the second half of that game, Georgia didn't even cross the 50-yard line on offense? So to me, last year was a fluke. So what bothers me is the perception that Georgia's 2 or 3 years ahead of Florida. I don't expect anybody to pick Florida to win the East, but the conversation's real, and it's closer than people want to pretend in the media. And that's what gets me riled up, Paul, because it's perception, and they ain't looking into the numbers. It's lazy coverage.
Well,
that's just how I feel.
Listen, that's okay. I think sometimes you have to separate what you've seen versus what you see now, and you're right. Georgia, I'll defend Georgia on this regard. They've got a lot of really great young players, but they haven't proven themselves together yet.
And that's true. And you would probably agree with this. Georgia would have more questions than Florida, but Florida has the bigger question at quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think Dan Mullen is the X factor and all that. Because I think the last 9 years prior to last year, Florida only gave up 17 points per game. I would expect Florida to get back to that form on defense. And with Dan Mullen, I don't see why we wouldn't average over 30 points a game. So I agree with what you said Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida is undefeated heading into Jacksonville. And there's going to be a conversation to be had about that game that week. And that's all you can ask for.
Hey, that's good. Listen, this is a month for pondering, and that's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to sway you on this fall.
Hey,
I'm going to sway you, man. I'm that Gator boy. I'm that Gator boy, man.
I'm easy to be swayed.
Hey, man, I really do hope you stick around, man, because we can't live without you, man.
Thanks, Lance.
Gators.
You got it.
You're listening to the Paul Finebaum Show podcast.
Yeah, man.
Welcome back. Glad to be joined by Brad Crawford.
Finally get Paul Finebaum on board. You call Gator Radio. And you got boys like Zach Alberverdi talking about Georgia wins because they're Georgia. No, man. Georgia loses because they're Georgia. Check the national championship game. I mean, people are sleeping on my Gators and what they're bringing to this table, man. It's pretty clear to me, and it pisses me off. Think about the staff continuity, the experience and production. I told Paul, 19 starters coming back, 16 of those with an NFL draft grade. That is amazing. That is talent. In college football, a head coach means more than any other sport in America, man. A college coach can turn your program around. Look at Ohio State when they lost Jim Tressel. Luke Fickell came in with it 1 year. Next year, Evermeyer, 12-0. But they were on probation. I mean, I think about Jim McElwain, 2 trips to Atlanta, SEC Coach of the Year, and then a plummet year. Enter Dan Mullen. Why can't we go 12-0 just like Ohio State can? Why can't we win just like Georgia won last year? Great defense and rely on your running game. Let the quarterback grow into the season as the season grows. The schedule sets up that way, and that's the way it will be played. I mean, anybody wants to argue 12-0 Florida Gators season, hit me up. 423-509-7007, man. You know the number. The show's available. I'm open. All lines are open. Call it up any time of day, night. I'll get out of bed to debate your ass on this topic. That's how confident I am. But really, let's get back on the offense. Focus on offense for a minute. I call it Mullinade. You want to know what the ingredients are. You're talking about an offense with 10 starters back. With the number 4 experienced team in the nation. The running back depth and talent is top in the nation. I mean, I don't understand the magazine ratings when you're rolling out Scarlett, Malik Davis, who averaged 6.7 yards per carry before his injury. Darius Lemons averaged over 7 yards per carry in limited action due to a coaching staff who don't understand his talents. I mean, the Michael P. Ryan, 9 touchdowns in 11 games. I mean, that's production. Those are guys you can count on. Those are guys, if somebody goes down, you don't have to worry. Look at Georgia. After DeAndre Swift, if he goes down, you're in trouble. I don't wish injury on anybody, and I hope they're 100% because I don't want no damn excuses when they get down to Jacksonville and they cross that St. John's River and the blood is boiling, son. And, oh, Lord, don't get me that fired up at 5 a.m. But I got to tell you, John Hevesy on the offensive line is really a tremendous hire. I love Brad Davis, excellent recruiter. But again, you can't come from North Texas and step into the SEC and learn how to be an offensive line coach. I thought Missouri was a great hire for him. He will be a star, but he wasn't ready. A bad hire by McElwain. But again, when you look at Ivy and Juwan Taylor, these are 2 of the top tackles in the SEC. I mean, the only guys in the SEC with higher grades at tackle are the 2 kids from Alabama. I mean, you want to talk about Georgia's offensive line, 4 starters coming back, all the stars on that line. Stars are fine, man, but I'm a production guy. And Martez Ivy's the number 2 rated tackle going into the NFL draft this year. Georgia ain't got nobody like that. And again, Juwan Taylor's number 13. I mean, those are 2 of the top 10 tackles in the nation setting up blocking for a young quarterback. And you add a play calling, a Dan Mullen, the running back stable we have. And then you step out to the skill players. Tyree Cleveland. Kadarius, deep threat. Tyree Cleveland, a true deep threat. Kadarius Toney, a guy who's insane in space. Line him up in the slot. Motion him into the backfield. Take the jet sweep. Take the direct snap. Jacob Copeland, X Factor, coming in, true freshman. Take the top off any defense. Can line up outside, inside, motion into the backfield, jet sweep. I mean, when these guys break the huddle, you don't know if they're going to line up. It really causes defenses to play slower and try to identify where players are. And again, you can play faster and really get make defenses play out of space, get them out of rim, so to speak, because they're trying to get lined up and you're breaking a huddle with different guys, different places, and they're scrambling to get the right guys matched up on the right guys. But with Dan Mullen's offense, you can't get your number 1 on our number 1 every time because of the different places they can line up in the offense. And again, Dan Mullen, man, he understands mismatches and he understands how to get people the ball in space. Our playmakers are going to ball. And you think about a guy like Van Jefferson, who played last year at Ole Miss for the slot, almost 1,000-yard receiving season last year. You add him into the mix. Again, another playmaker for Dan Mullen. Then you talk about Trevor Grimes, 6'5", 200 pounds, 220 I believe it is. But 6'5", that's a red zone threat. That is somebody you cannot go one-on-one with. I mean, we got guys that demand double teams, especially in the red area. When you talk about our tight end, Keontae Lewis, they just added Lucas Kroll, 6'7". You got the height, you got the speed, you got the size. More importantly, you got the playmakers, and Dan Mullen knows how to use playmakers. Unlike Doug Nussmeier, who like to piss the bed every damn Saturday. Every Saturday, that boy wet the bed. And tell me about this defense, man. This is where I'm most excited. Hold on offense, a couple impact freshmen to look for. Emory Jones, Damian Pierce, Iverson Clement, going to be a special teams player right away. I could see him working some snaps in on offense. And Richard Garage, the tackle. Somebody goes down, expect him to step up. But what a great situation to sit behind Martez Ivy and learn for Richard Garage. And he's going to be a star in this league. Don't give up on players just because they don't play year 1. And again, Jacob Copeland, the X Factor. Boom, football miracle. I don't think people realize, but 19 starters back on defense. We got 17 players with starting experience. Todd Grantham, blitzing style. He's never had 2 lockdown corners in his life calling defensive plays, even in the SEC, like he does at the University of Florida and CJ and Marco. But I'll tell you, man, the thing I'm most excited about when I look at this defense is the experience and the production coming back. The defensive line returns 139 tackles, 29 for loss, 12.5 sacks. And you think about the 29 tackles for loss as a unit, and you might say, man, that ain't nothing. Okay, look at Georgia. Jamari Zuniga has 8 tackles for loss. That's more than Georgia's defensive line unit combined. Go down to linebacker. 211 tackles as a unit. 15.5 tackles for loss. 2 sacks. I'll give you the sack number needs to improve. Add in Todd Grantham's system. South Sunset on the defensive line. The numbers are skyrocketing. But here's another alarming fact. David Reese, 102 tackles. That's more than Georgia's linebacker unit combined. All 4 of their linebackers that are supposed to replace their 4 starters. David Reese has more tackles by himself. And you can laugh at our linebackers and say you need somebody beside David Reese. Well, if Ventrell Miller and James Houston don't get suspended, we got the depth. Watch out for Colin Johnson. I like Jeremiah Moon in this system. Everybody keeps talking about Ventrell Miller and James Houston, and maybe they will be big stars, but I got to see it first. But tell me this, secondary, best secondary in the nation. This unit is the number 1 on the board in America. I don't care. Think about it, 161 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 7 interceptions. I mean, that really, when you think about the secondary, what they're going to do well is limit the explosive plays. And if you can limit a team's explosive plays and you can run the ball after Gators are going to run the ball, that's a recipe for success, man. I mean, C.J. Henderson's 4 interceptions was more than Georgia's leading returner at 3 in DeAndre Baker. Marco Wilson's 10 pass breakups. That's more than Georgia's leading returner, DeAndre Baker, again at 9. And this guy's going in his senior year. Marco and CJ's going in their sophomore year. And you always expect the biggest growth for a player between his freshman and sophomore year. I think people are sleeping on this defense. They're looking at the Kool-Aid, Kirby Kool-Aid. Well, throw that Kirby Kool-Aid out the window, pick up a glass of damn Mayonnaise, son. The ingredients in this Florida Gator team is real, and it's got championship level written all over it. I mean, if you don't believe me, just turn it up and look on the bottom. On the bottom, man, it'll say championship, 18. Well, tell me this. One alarming stat. Last year, the defense gave up over 20 points a game. I think it was 26, 7, something crazy. I'm not a go-go guy, and I can't remember. I ain't looking shit up. But I will tell you this, what I do remember. In the last 9 years, this defense average giving up 17.6 points per game the last 9 years prior to last year. And I would expect that for them to come back. So here's my prediction on the season. You want a forecast for 2018. This is the defense that's going to allow 18 points a game. An offense that's going to score 33 points a game. That's a 12-0 record, 8-0 in the SEC. Toughest game on our schedule in this order to me. Georgia, Florida State, LSU, South Carolina, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Missouri, and Vanderbilt, in that order. And again, if you don't agree with Lance and Jasper, call me up, 423-509-7007. SEC Championship game. Gators versus Auburn. Gators won the SEC Championship 2018. You heard it first. Everybody's talking about Alabama. Jared Stidham, senior quarterback. Auburn have the number 1 offense in the SEC. The defense is good enough. Don't worry about the road games. What I'm going to tell you, that's my prediction, man. 12-0 Florida Gators. Auburn versus Florida. SEC Championship. Signing off. Lance and Jasper. Go Gators.